Hello, my traumatized babies and mentally ill Barbies. That was very intense for a second. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know if this is going to be a reading or not. It's going to start off as a talk, right? And then maybe we'll pull some cards. But there's something about alignment, truth, being aware of what's true, and expressing that, embodying it, owning it, and expressing it. That's what manifestation is. And the less resistance you have to do that, the more effortless your manifestations will be. And it's about energy and how energy works. That effortless manifestation comes from truth and expressing and channeling truth, which comes from the heart, not from the mind, not from our perceptions. What's real is not our perceptions, it is truth, which is not a static thing. Truth is very malleable, it changes, but it comes from your chest. That's why you'll hear people say, like, say it with your chest. And like over-intellectualizing, over-analyzing tends to hinder manifestation. Also, what you want in your mind is not necessarily what is. And manifestation has a lot to do with first accepting what is and being okay with it. And in doing that, that truth, that what is, that reality becomes malleable, dissolves, and you can move through it. That's manifestation. Now, there are people, like most people are gonna have like some difficulty with this, like every single person. There's some people who don't, who are very, very practiced, but still they'll tend to run into difficult things. But the people who have the most resistance and have the most difficulty manifesting are people who cannot hold what's true. And usually what that means is they can't hold the I love you. So in Buddhism, they'll say like suffering, like desire is the root of all suffering, right? This sort of unrequited thing. And it's not necessarily romantic love, but typically when there's something like we want, right? The connective force between us and that thing is love. And a lot of people have a lot of difficulty holding, owning, and expressing love, because admitting to that is vulnerable. And most people don't want to be perceived as vulnerable. They don't want to admit to that. And so people who have a hard time holding I love you do a lot of weird things unintentionally with their energy. It comes off as like, instead of just saying, hey, I like you, I want to go get to know you better. What it's going to look like instead is them picking a fight with you. And I'm not saying that like every single time like someone pushes you down on the playground, right? It's because they like you. It's because they're into you. But there's a lot of truth to that statement. I've watched it play out, like not in my life, just watching other people. I've watched people pick fights with people who they don't know. They're like picking an argument. They're trying to get that person to engage with them because what they really want to say is, hey, I like you. And I want to know if we could be in each other's lives. But they're too scared to say that, so they try to bait the other person into an argument. And I call that sideways energy, because that's not the truth. The argument is a lie. It's just there so the person is able to connect without admitting what's really so. And that's exactly how you don't manifest, because whenever I see this, it always ends up pushing people away. And it's not always another person that you want to manifest. It's just easy to talk about when it comes to relationships. If you can't admit what you love with your whole heart and say it with your whole chest and whole mouth, it is going to be hard for you to manifest that thing in reality. And what you really want to be saying with your whole heart and your whole chest and your whole mouth is who you are. Sending out your authentic energetic signal Because once you are doing that consistently, you don't have to affirm anything. You don't have to visualize anything. What is in resonance with that energy is just going to come to you. And there's nothing that you need to do except express who you are authentically in this moment, even if who and what that is not the best. It's in fact maybe terrible. It's really ugly. Like, that's reality. Being high vibrational doesn't mean that like you're some kind of weird, pure, spiritual thing all the time. Sometimes it's talking about like why you're intensely jealous of another person, like admitting that. Why you freaking hate somebody's guts for no reason. And talking about how you know it's like, I don't know, some insecurity within yourself that you would prefer not be there, but it is there. Maybe it's like knowing that you really, really want attention from people. Like, not love. Like, you really maybe don't care all that much about love, but you like other people's attention on you. And when you don't have that attention, you get angry and like want to pull that person in. But you have no intention of ever like reciprocating anything from that person. You just simply want their attention. That's true. Most people will at least go through like a young phase of their life doing that. And some people go through lots of phases of that. But until you can really admit that, at least just to yourself, you are going to find yourself in a lot of painful positions. Because once you understand like, oh, I just want that person's attention, you can disentangle yourself from any kind of weird crap that you're doing to hook another person's attention. Because that is very not operating from wholeness, right? Like when we look at that, like why do you want someone's attention? Well, because there's something like that, I don't know, we're not giving to ourselves and all that kind of hokey stuff. So there's something about that. There's something about people finding it difficult to hold the I love you, or people finding it difficult to hold a truth that is not necessarily flattering to us. And that's literally everybody. Like, everybody has like ugly stuff about them. And I think that the sooner you can just own that, not necessarily live in it, by the way. Like, we don't want to get, like, let's say it was a thing where like you want people's attention. Like, there are some people who will realize that and then just accept it and lean into it. And I guess like if you want to do that, I mean, go right ahead. But for the most part, I don't know that I would care to lean into that. It would be more like let me figure out like what I can do for myself so that I'm no longer kind of being manipulative of other people. That is what I mean. And instead of holding that discomfort with ourselves, we'll tend to want to push those, oh no, I'm never the problem. It's never me. I am perfect out here. It's not true. But I also never want anyone to think, because I tend to get frustrated when I hear like other manifestation people, or maybe just spiritual people in general. I even feel like I don't talk about this. Like, the best way is blocking things. It's true you can block something, and also it's not true at the same time. I think the way that we talk about energetic blockages tends to make people feel like they have to be some perfect receptive being, or else they're never going to be able to have a partner or have love or have the sort of maybe working life or success that they want. And that's not the case. That time, if you believe that, will actually never come, because you are always changing. Whatever healing, like there are pauses in like an official healing process, but it takes interactions with the environment, with other people, being messy in relationships in order for us to evolve. That is what that caduceus a lot of the time is about. It takes those opposing forces interacting for the evolution to occur. And that doesn't happen from some perfectly healed state. It happens in imperfect ways all of the time. So if you ever get worried when you hear, manifestation people talk about, the healing and you're not healed and it's this and it's that and the other, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Manifesting from love is something like a practice that I think anyone can do, but manifesting love from another person, I would say it's not something you can do. And I don't think anyone should really ever attempt it. You can manifest from love, and then it is possible that another person will approach you in love. It's possible someone may fall in love with you. But love is a miracle. It is magic occurring in real time. And what that means is you can't control it. So manifesting love isn't a thing. You cultivate the love in yourself, and that's going to look like wholeness. You cultivate wholeness, you cultivate love. That is the energy from which you manifest. And then you will find that whatever material form returns to you, it will be enough because you are enough. And that's the end goal of the manifestation process, that energetic feedback loop of manifesting from truth, wholeness, authenticity, love, so that everything that returns back to you in material form, that is what that material thing is made out of, the energy from which you manifested in the first place. And then it could be a cat, a flower, whatever it is, it will be just as pleasing to you as anything else, for the most part. Even things that may seem a bit distressing. So, I don't know, let's push our little crystal, beautiful, I don't know, I want it though. I like our little pretty crystal. Let's see if we can keep it and see like what cards come out with that. Maybe, I have no idea. But I knew I was gonna be moving, like in my mind. I was like, we need to be doing more spiritual chit chat. I don't know, just talking about manifestation in general, problems with manifestation, or problems that we think that there are, or manifestation topics, energetic mechanics. Because in the talking about it, we expand. We get to know more. We get to go beyond the concepts that we already knew, that in fact are not the end all be all. So we can stop calling them laws. We can stop calling them facts, as a matter of fact, because those things are always deepening. Our perspectives are usually expanding. And so once we have a really good grasp on a general concept, we're not exactly getting rid of that, because sometimes stuff within like the law of attraction is going to be very useful for you going forward. But we're not like bound by that, right? We, in fact, can think of new things. We can think of things that suit ourselves contemporarily, because not everything, from the old days is going to suit us now. And then some of it will. It just depends, because there's stuff I'm reading the Bible and I'm just like, oh, this was of a time. And then there's other stuff that I read that is still markedly profound. So it just depends. It's rarely ever, never this thing, and always this thing. It's going to be a mishmash. But still, I don't think we should hold ourselves back from thinking new things. Well, it looks like something is creeping towards the collective. Something steadily moving forward. Some sort of manifestation that you've been working hard. Y'all been working, like the blockage, right? Working hard to remove a block, to get into this free-flowing energy, being patient. And getting patient with yourself. Patient maybe with your inner child, with your spiritual self, your own baby energy, and not acting, but in the good way. in the not acting, it coming to you. And then the uncertainty and the lightning strike. I think maybe you thought, if we're talking about a particular manifestation, some of this was a pipe dream. Like maybe you believe in manifestation, right? You consume that content and you're like, I know this is real, but like, I just don't think that this, whatever it is gonna happen for me. And then maybe all of a sudden it does. Oh my gosh. Wow, this is powerful. I don't know what, okay. Well, write what I'm talking about. Energy, emotional energy. Owning the I love you. It's the energy. Authenticity, truth, I talk about, like pulling the sword from your own heart. That is the blockage. The not being able to identify or hold the sword of truth in your hand. Because in order to do that, you're pulling it from there, right? And unless you pull it from there, I'm thinking about Revolutionary Goitena right now. Until you pull it from there, if the sword stays in, that's the Three of Swords, right? That is the sword penetrating Jesus and Mary's heart, the sacred heart of Jesus. That manifestation comes from this uncomfortable place, that the utmost joy is mixed in with significant pain, a painful truth. But once we own it, we are reborn, right? That ceases to be reality, we are resurrected. That is a way to interpret, you know, the Christian mysteries. From a man, like obviously as an enlightenment story, but also as manifestation. What that really calls for. It is not the sacred mind of Jesus. It is the sacred heart. So once we have the truth, once we can hold the I love you, we're operating in our authentic energy, then we are taking inspired action, aligned action, divine action. And that's manifestation. So let's see. Is there anything else that we can add to this? Or is that all that needed to come out today? Or in this moment? A match. We now have the Queen and the King of Cups. The match, the result, the return. Once you are operating in this energy, once you are sending that out, that beacon, that signal, what returns to you is your match in materiality. And in this case, we are looking at the match as two people, right? The king and the queen. That queen could be any number of things. Living in alignment is understanding that everything's a match for you. All of it. So if I was in complete and total alignment right now, I could walk outside and be so happy with all the birds and flowers and, you know, maybe my neighbors are arguing outside. I don't know, maybe there's a kid out there drawing in chalk in the street, and there is a crow drinking from a puddle. That is my match. That is my manifestation. And because I'm in alignment with myself and therefore with God, it is all I need at the moment. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing make you afraid. All things are passing. Only God never changes. Patience gains all things. If you have God, you will want for nothing. God alone suffices. Anything else under this Ace of Swords? I'm getting twos. Well, Misha wants to slam the cabinets. Misha. Misha. Okay. So, right, once we can be at peace, be still with that truth, right? Like I said, until you pull the sword from your heart, we're in the blockage. We're in the Three of Swords. Once you are at peace with what is, we have the resurrection into joy, into the new, the newly born. We are born again. That's also acting in alignment, because the child on the horse isn't controlling the horse. They're just letting the horse run, and they're sort of just balanced on the horse effortlessly. That's effortless manifestation. So then this King of Wands. And then you're free to not act. There is nothing you want because you understand it already belongs to you. It's already here. So what are you worried about? Final message. Be not unsatisfied. Interesting, when I said be not unsatisfied, an alarm went off on my phone. So, be not unsatisfied with what is currently around you. Accept it. Accept it because it's beautiful. It's everything. You have everything you could ever want around you right now. Understand that, and you will always live a life of ease. And your manifestations, the energy, is unresisted and will speed up.